We live in a day and age where there's absolutely massive demand for this: photos, videos, and any sort of visual content. So if you own one of these, then chances are you can figure out a way to make money with that. So in this video, I want to show you 9 great side hustles that you can start today if you own a camera. Let's get started. But first, if you're new here, hi, I'm Katja. I'm a Berlin-based photographer and YouTube creator, and on this channel, I educate photographers and creators how to make a living in this career and how to navigate a business in the creative field. So I've been successfully running my own photography business for the past 5 years, and I share all my insights, tips, and tricks on this YouTube channel. So side hustle number 1 is to take LinkedIn portrait photos for people who work in the corporate world and who may be your friends, your family, or friends of friends, friends of family. So here's the scoop. I'm a professional photographer, and I have people ask me all the time if I could take a LinkedIn profile picture for them. And I'm really specialized on headshot photography for actors and also on personal branding. And my photography packages are pretty expensive. So it doesn't make sense for most people just to take LinkedIn profile pictures with me. So this is where people who own a camera but might not be a professional photographer come in. Because taking a decent business photo isn't that complicated, or it doesn't have to be for your average type of use case. All you gotta do is find some nice architecture in your city, have some good lighting on the day. It's perfect if it's a cloudy day, or if you're using sunlight, just make sure you're not shooting directly in the sunlight. But basically, you can just have a white wall and have somebody be dressed in their business attire, and you can take a pretty decent LinkedIn photo with any type of camera that you own. And I believe this is also a growing niche that you can definitely develop out of into what I'm doing, which is personal branding. So start with LinkedIn photos, and then you can work your way up to taking personal branding photos for people who need more than one picture for their profile, but maybe need pictures for their website or for their LinkedIn content because they're posting content on LinkedIn and stuff like that. But start with the basics with a corporate LinkedIn photo for people who might not have a lot of money, but maybe who work in the corporate world and might love to have a decent new picture for their profile. So start reaching out to people who you already know, or maybe even if you are already on LinkedIn, utilize your LinkedIn network to post on LinkedIn to say, I'm offering to take LinkedIn portrait photos for not a big price, and see what the response is and get your foot in the door that way. So the next side hustle is somewhat close to home to me, and that is to be a thumbnail photographer for YouTubers. And I'm not sure why I haven't seen anybody really talk about this before, because I think there's huge potential if somebody were to specialize on taking YouTube thumbnail photos. So there are several different ways you can go about becoming a YouTube thumbnail photographer. For example, you could look up YouTubers, and I would recommend to look up YouTubers who are smaller, maybe in the range of 5K subscribers to 20K subscribers in your area where you live. So they should be local YouTubers, obviously. And you can just shoot them a message on any of their socials. Most of them are on Instagram or LinkedIn, or to comment on one of their videos and offer to shoot some thumbnails with them. Maybe you can start by doing a free test run with them, and if they like the result, then you can agree upon a price that they would pay you to shoot their thumbnail. If it's too difficult to find YouTubers directly in your area, you can make a profile on Upwork or Fiverr and specialize as a thumbnail photographer on those platforms. You can shoot some example thumbnails to show the quality of your work and let other people, YouTube creators, find you through those platforms that push out people if people are looking for that specific job. I don't think you need to be a professional photographer to do this. The main thing is that you can operate a camera, that you can find good lighting, you can have good people skills, so you can work together with small YouTube creators and help them take better photos than the creator themselves. Because to be honest, it's really hard to take a good photo of yourself. So basically, it's somewhat of a camera operator assistant role if somebody were to come here and help me take my thumbnails, for example. I mean, I happen to be a photographer myself, so it's not such a big problem for me, but there's tons of YouTube creators out there who don't really know about photography and that would love some help of somebody who knows how to operate a camera properly, has good lenses, has some skill with lighting to help them just take better thumbnails. And everybody who's on YouTube knows how important good thumbnails are. So I'm sure this is a niche where you can make a ton of money if you really specialize on this side hustle. All these side hustles sound super great, but what if I don't own a decent camera yet? Oh, well, if you don't own a good camera yet, then you can just go and check out MPB. And who is MPB? MPB is the sponsor of today's video, and they are an amazing platform for people who are looking to buy used photography or videography gear, or who have some gear lying around in their house that is old and that they want to sell to other people. I've tried buying used gear before, but what if it's broken or doesn't work properly? Well, this is the really cool thing about MPB because all their gear is being tested by experts before they ship it out to you. And you also get a warranty with your gear. So if anything happens to be broken, you can always return it. So you can be sure that anything that you get on MPB has been actually tested and you know that you're getting gear that is properly functioning and in good condition. But what if I'm looking for a pretty up-to-date camera model? Well, the people over at MPB are photography and videography enthusiasts, so they have a great selection of up-to-date cameras and lenses and everything that your photography heart may desire. So go and check them out on mpb.com. Well, okay, I guess I'll give it a try and use your link in the description below, I guess. Thanks, Katja, for recommending this to me. So side hustle number 3 is to do with product photography. So if you haven't been born yesterday, you probably have heard of a thing called Etsy. So Etsy is a platform where small sellers can sell to a global audience. So it could be like ceramics shops, little clay object, I don't know, like leather goods, anything that you can dream of is sold on Etsy. So basically, Etsy sellers are not professional content creators or photographers. And a lot of people struggle to take good pictures of whatever they're selling on Etsy. So this is where you can come in as somebody who can operate a camera, right? So what you can do is to reach out to people who are Etsy sellers in your area and offer them help to take some good professional product photos of their stuff because they might be still taking photos with their phone. And if you own a camera, then that will increase the production value of their photography 1,000 times, like in a second. You can also practice and hone your skills if you're planning to get into more advanced product photography. But starting with like small shops, small local sellers is a beautiful way into this kind of industry. And this is a really quiet and peaceful sort of side hustle that you can do with your camera because you're not shooting moving stuff, you're not shooting a person, you're basically shooting things that are not moving. And the only thing that you need to get right are your camera settings, have some good equal lighting, and find maybe some interesting angles to position the thing that you are shooting. Of course, like with most side hustles, it's also possible to create a profile on Fiverr and Upwork and advertise your services. But I would say reaching out to people directly is your best shot when starting out in this area. Side hustle number 4 is for those of you who love taking portraits. And that side hustle is to take profile pictures for dating apps for other people. So I'm sure you know a ton of people who are swiping on the apps, Tinder, Bumble. There's so many out there that I stopped counting. But what do you need on those dating apps? It's good quality photos of yourself. So if you're somebody who owns a camera and you know how to operate it and take a decent portrait, you can help out your buddies and any people who you know who need a good profile picture for their dating profiles. This one is really easy to start. You basically just start reaching out to anybody you know who is in the dating game currently and just ask them if they would be interested to take a little photo session with you, pay you a little bit of money to get some decent photos for their profile. This one is very hard to mess up because basically, if you've been on dating profiles before, you know that the majority of the pictures on there are taken with a phone and are just not very good quality. So people can really stand apart if they have some good quality portraits taken with an actual camera. And I would say because with this side hustle, you are basically targeting the average consumer who doesn't have a ton of money. You cannot charge outrageous prices for this, but it's a great side hustle to practice your portraiture and get a little bit of money every single time. I would say you could charge anything between $50 to $100 for a session like that. And obviously, if people like your work, they will keep recommending you to the people who they know, and they will be asked about the pictures on their profiles. And then you can get more and more traction this way, just through word of mouth, basically. And with this one, if you're really gutsy and brave, you can even do something expanding outside of your circle of friends and family, and maybe go set up your camera in a public space somewhere where a lot of people pass by, and have a little sign with you that says, I take your Tinder profile picture for $50, and then see if people stop and let you take some pictures of them. Or maybe make it a little bit cheaper at first. Like, I'll take your Tinder profile picture for $20 and see how many people you can get in a day to take their Tinder profile picture. I think this is a fun experiment and a nice little side hustle that you can try if you're really brave and gutsy, and obviously you own a decent camera. Hey, just a quick little side note. If you're enjoying this content so far, please consider subscribing to the channel and giving this video a like. It's free, completely free to give a like. And yeah, thank you for watching, and now keep watching the video. So side hustle number 5 is to create some B-roll footage, film some B-roll footage for YouTube creators. So there's YouTube creators out there who are amazing at videography, and other YouTube creators who might need a little bit of help from somebody else who can shoot video footage for them, especially if it's to do with filming themselves. So they might need somebody to operate a camera to shoot some interesting high quality B-roll footage. And it doesn't even have to be super complicated. It could just be you operating a camera on a tripod. It doesn't even have to be like with a gimbal, like moving around crazy action shots. It could be just something simple, like following somebody very quietly, doing some slow motion shots, just getting like the angle right and the lighting right, which is sometimes more difficult to do if you're a YouTube creator like me and you're shooting completely by yourself. You can reach out to YouTube creators directly on their YouTube channels or through social media. Just make sure you are located in the same area that they are, and that you are reaching out to YouTube creators who are realistically on that level, who might need help. So if they have like 100 subscribers, they probably can't afford somebody to shoot B-roll footage for them. And if they have like 5 million subscribers, then they probably don't need you. They're probably working with super professional people. But if they're somewhere in the range between 5,000 subscribers to maybe 50,000 subscribers, then you might realistically have a shot that they're looking for people who help them in their business. And shooting B-roll is one of the essential parts of creating YouTube videos. So there's definitely an opportunity to get paid for this job. For side hustle number 6, it's great if you own a camera, but for parts of it, it might also be enough if you own a decent phone. And that side hustle is creating content for local restaurants, cafes, and anything in the food and hospitality industry. So we all know this, but local restaurants, coffee shops, and food businesses need great content nowadays. And this content can be social media reels, TikTok videos, great food photos, great video content of the foods and the dishes and the drinks, just tons and tons of content that those businesses can use for their Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, you name it. There's a million different channels that we need content for these days. And a lot of these businesses are struggling to actually get to produce this content because they don't have people working on their staff who can operate a camera or who can focus on content creation in their day-to-day business. So this is where you can come in with your skill and your knowledge of operating a camera and taking some photos. And how you would start this up is basically just head out and go to your local food businesses just in your neighborhood and in your area, in your city, wherever you live, and go in, ask if you can talk to the owner, and pitch yourself as a content creator for their business. Maybe ask them if they have a social media content creation engine running already, if they have somebody taking pictures for them already, or maybe if they need somebody and that somebody could be you. I guarantee you that a lot of businesses don't have their bases covered yet, but in the back of their mind, they know that they need to pay somebody to actually do this kind of job. And of course, margins in this business are not high, so they won't have tons and tons of money to spend of that kind of thing, especially if they don't know yet what the return is going to be for them. But I'm sure that most of them understand that in this day and age, that social media content, video content, photography is super important in the food business, in the food industry, and that they're more than willing to try and test this out for you. And maybe you can do some really fair packages for them, like start very low. So it's low risk for the business and it's low risk for you if you don't deliver the type of content that they're looking for. Start with a test phase and then work your way up and up and up. And you can do this with many businesses at the same time and see where you click with the owner, with the food, and if you're even good at this type of gig. So the next side hustle, number 7, is one of my absolute favorite ones that I love to recommend to people who are either starting out as a photographer or are just looking for a side hustle with a camera. And that is basically private sector photography. And what do I mean by that? Let me explain a little bit. Private sector photography is everything that is to do with family photography, photographing children, photographing families, photographing couples, photographing weddings, engagements, all the things that aren't to do with business and selling products and fashion and all of that, but more photographing normal people in their day-to-day life and just creating beautiful portraits and photos for people that they will cherish for the rest of their lives. This is why I love this sector so much, because especially for people like starting out, it's a really easy one to get into. You don't need a website, you don't need super advanced professional gear, nothing like that. All you need is a willingness to reach out to people and offer your services, and an Instagram page where you continuously post the results of the shoots that you do. Of course, if you're shooting families with children, you would need a permission from them to post things publicly. But if you're shooting couples or weddings, then you're usually on the safe side anyway. So as mentioned, people skills are important in this one. So you need to give yourself a little push and reach out to people who you know. So this could be your family, colleagues, friends, and start offering small sessions at a low price and then start working your way up from there. And I'm pretty sure everybody wants really good family photos. Everybody loves a little photo session with maybe their loved one, their partners, their children. Everybody would love to have something like this. And most people just are too shy to go to a photographer, or they expect to pay tons and tons of money for it, so they don't do it. But if it's somebody that they know and who they know they can trust, then people are much more willing to say yes, and also to obviously reward you with a little bit of money for that. So I would say this is one of the easiest side hustles that you can start out if you own a camera, and also one of the most rewarding ones, because people just love to see emotional pictures of themselves, where they're happy, and it's something that they will keep in their house for the rest of their lives and look over and over again. So it's also a beautiful gift that you can just make to people. Side hustle number 8 is to help Instagram influencers shoot the content that they need to shoot for brands. So Instagram influencers do a ton of brand collaborations, brand deals, sponsorships, stuff like that. And for those, they usually need somebody to shoot good quality content of them. That could be video, or it could also be photos. A lot of the time for Instagram, it's still photography, but most influencers on Instagram cannot or will not afford a professional photographer. So they might be looking for people who know how to operate a camera, but who they can direct to shoot the content that they need. Basically, an assistant with a camera. So this is where you can come in. You can reach out to Instagram influencers who are located again in your area. You can use the search function on Instagram to find those type of people and then shoot them a really nice DM and offer your services. You could write something like, hey, I'm an up and coming photography enthusiast and I like to help influencers on Instagram shoot brand deals and sponsorships and collaborations. If you need anything like that at some time, feel free to reach out to me. Maybe send a portfolio if you have one, but if you don't, just be really honest about it that you're starting out and see what comes back. And again, like with the YouTube creators, make sure you're reaching out to Instagram creators who are not like in the millions of followers, obviously, because those people do work with professional photographers or just shoot the content themselves. But make sure you reach out to influencers who are sort of in the growth phase, in the beginning of their growth phase. So somewhere between maybe 5,000 followers to around 50,000 followers, I would say is a good number to still be kind of like a beginner influencer. And those people usually need the most help from other people because they're still growing, they're doing a million things, and they need any type of help that they can get from other people and basically just some people who would like work with them. And the good thing about the side hustle is that a lot of influencers basically know what they want. So you don't have to come up with a creative yourself, but basically let the other person direct you and just deliver whatever they want you to deliver. And side hustle number 9 is to do with local businesses again. And I have already talked about food businesses, but now let's talk about any type of other business. So just like with the food business, all the small businesses and retailers and shops and all of these things, they need good content, video, photo, all of that stuff is needed to survive and thrive in today's economy. So just take your camera and take a stroll around your neighborhood, around your city, or around the area where you live, and basically talk to local business owners and ask them if they have any plan of producing some content for Instagram, for the website, if they need any photography or like verticals that you can even film with your phone, if you don't have a great video function in your camera, and start building up that relationship, that trust with your local businesses. You don't need to find huge international clients to make money with a camera. It can be as little as working with the people that are surrounding you in your community and helping them out with your camera in exchange for a little side hustle money that you can earn extra on the side. And it's basically a win-win situation because local businesses usually don't have the time, the capacity to shoot their own content, but they also don't have enough money to hire a professional photographer. But they would maybe spend a couple $100 to have somebody come in maybe once a month or once a week and shoot some videos or photos that might make the business go viral on the internet and bring in tons of new customers. So be bold, pitch yourself, don't ask too high of a price when you're just starting out with this. And I'm sure you can make this work into a side hustle over time and also support your local community, have a little fun with it, be a little creative, create content, become good at content creation, understand this whole game of content creation, and basically both sides will benefit from this. So if you've enjoyed this video, you might check this one out on the channel next, and I'll speak to you in my next one. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.